Well, how are we doing, Gideonstactical crew? I hope you guys are doing well. I am in the process of packing up for our annual multi-day backpacking trip that I do with my dad, my brother, a few buddies, and we're going to be going up into the northern wilds of Wyoming. And so in today's video, what I wanted to do is share with you what gear and equipment I am taking on this 5-day trip. We're going to be going about 12 or 13 miles in. We're going to be doing multiple locations, fishing, just having a blast. We're going to be at 10,000 feet or above when we're camping. And just share with you what I take for a trip like this, because I feel like I have a very unique blending of trying to cut weight wherever I can, but I am not an ultralight backpacker. If you're looking for someone who is like, yeah, my pack's like, 11.15 grams, and like all that, I try to cut weight. I have a lot of stuff. I've been able to shave about, I think it's 9 pounds off of last year's. So there's a lot of weight savings that I've come up with that I'm going to share with you. But along with that, I also like to have fun. We like to fish. I like a few luxuries, and I'm a gear reviewer. So I've got, camera equipment and a few extra pieces of gear, like 3-4 blades I'm taking that the average outdoorsman would not be doing, because I'm, testing them out, and this is an ample opportunity to test them. And throughout this video, we'll be bouncing in and out. So if there's an item that's new, I'll be sharing with you how it actually performed, because when this goes live, I will be back from that trip. I'm filming this obviously before I leave, and then be running in footage throughout the process of that trip. So we're just gonna kind of crank up the tunes a little bit. I invite you to just relax, hang back, ask questions. Everything I'm talking about, I'll do my best to have in the description below if you're interested in a particular item as we go through this. But just gonna have kind of a fun walkthrough, casual time with you guys, and we'll start with the pack itself, right? I mean, that's the core of your system when you go backpacking. And last year was kind of nuts. I was over 40 pounds. My pack was like 105 liter, just because I knew where we were going. We were going about 6 miles in. We've been there before, and I just wanted to take a lot of cool gear and equipment and just have fun. This is a totally different experience. Never hiked this location before. I know it's longer, further distance. So it's just like, we got to dial this in. So this year I opted, after a lot of research, going with the Deuter, whatever you want to call it. What is this? The Air Contact Core 50 plus 10. So this is a 50 liter plus 10 with the collar, way down from 105 liters that I was doing last year. Now it's a little bit on the heavy side. The pack itself weighs 4.5 pounds, but it can handle up to, I believe it's 55 kilograms, which I can't remember. It's 45 or 55 kilograms, which is quite a bit. I mean, it can handle like at least 50 pounds of gear, which again, I'm trying to cut weight, and I'll tell you when we get down to the bottom and when we're at the end of the video, how much does this pack actually weigh. But I've tested it. I loaded up everything a week ago with what I thought I would need, and I hiked about 3 miles. It's carried the weight really, really well. So that's what I have opted for on the backpack arena. Now, I'm sure I'm going to get a ton of questions about this other bag right here. I always do with the chest rigs. Now, up till now, I've been using 511 Skyweight series. Those are excellent introductory packs. Love it. We'll never not recommend it. It's kind of like an SE6. We'll never not recommend an SE6. This is the Full Tang Tactical series of bags. They're all USA made, super high quality stuff. And I'm using their smaller version, and then there is a larger version that my buddy Judah is wearing on the trip. And so I'm sure we'll have some feedback that I'll be running in about that. We probably should, actually.
Here. I won't have my pack on for it.
What do you think about that chest pack?
I think it's pretty good. It can hold a lot. The only thing is it's a bit bulky, and sometimes it sits on my diaphragm.
When you're like going uphill, basically.
Yeah, but I can get.
I mean, dude, that thing, you were
on the back.
Yep. And then you got how much in that right now? That looks totally stuffed out, dude.
I've got, let's see, I have my water filtration system.
Oh my gosh,
some lures, bear spray.
It's like a mini
cream.
Mini day pack.
I have my lunch. A bunch of stuff.
Nice.
AirPods, my phone, and some dude wipes.
Sweet. Cool. Yeah, why don't you just kind of spin around real quick so I can kind of show everybody. Yeah, there you go. Nice.
Yep.
Sweet.
I had my for a water bladder.
Yes, I'll run in that.
And then poop shovel.
Yeah, that was nice.
It's great.
Now, along with the ability to carry my Glock in there and, you know, a couple other features and a couple other items, it has PALS webbing or MOLLE webbing, you know, all around it, even on the sides. A lot of them do not have that, so you could put bear spray or a knife here. You have attachments here, running, where is it? This one is an Exodus tool, Jacob Peterson design, and this is the Jackalope. Really cool, ultra slim, ultra light, excellent for backpackers who want to count weight. This one right here, this is an FHF, I believe, bear spray, very lightweight, fits it perfectly, and you can MOLLE web it, you know, wherever you want. And then what's great about that is that you get a lot of lashing points, quick release points as well. And of course, I'm always taking with me some sort of SATCOM. Mine's a Zoleo, been using those for years, really happy with that. And then on top of that, we always take some sort of walkie-talkie or radio, because, you know, there's like a group of usually about 4 to 6 of us minimum. And that just really adds to it when people want to go exploring, because like maybe my dad's like, I'm gonna go hiking, another guy's like, well, I'm gonna go, you know, this stream, you know, a mile away, I'm going there. And then 2 people are staying at camp, just to keep us all in contact when you're in those very rugged, you know, solitude locations. Basically having some form of walkie-talkie really helps. Those are 5 watt GMRS radios. I always get the numerical number. I'll annotate it if I screwed up how you say that. But anyway, those are always really big and very beneficial. Those walkie-talkies have been what I've used for a long time. So along with that, so those are the 2 bags, right? Now, what about over here, some like tips as we kind of stuff out this bag here a little bit. So I've discovered a few tips that I'm really looking forward to doing. The first is my sleeping pad. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I've never, once you get a sleeping mattress, sleeping pad out, and you blow it up and use it, and then you try to get it back in that stuff sack, it's like a nightmare. And I can never do it properly, and it's always just this kind of like throw it in the bag, whatever. Well, I saw a tip, and I'll try to annotate in his Instagram page. He did through hiking on the Appalachian Trail, and his suggestion was get rid of the stuff sack, cut some weight there, but then fold it up like a newspaper and put it in your hydration sleeve if you don't have a hydration bladder, which I'm not using. And if not, then you can just stuff it somewhere else. Genius. Then you don't have to worry about the stupid rolling up. You don't have this big like water bottle tube looking thing. So that's what I did. It's folded up like a newspaper, and it's in my water bottle sleeve right there, and cuts down a lot on the size, and it'll just streamline my whole packing process. So that was really cool. And then in tandem with that was my sleeping apparatus. Now I've been using the Climate, I can't remember what they call it, but it's their down. I believe that's a 20 or a 0 degree. I can't remember, because I just sleep cold like I always want, like extra. So I've been using that for a while. It's a little bit heavy. It's probably 3.5 pounds. Hopefully next year I'll be able to find something and cut that, but it's very roomy, and I'm a bigger guy, 6'2", you know, like 220, 215. So depending on the day. But anyway, another recommendation from the same guy was don't do one of your compression sacks to like crunch it down to a basketball and then put it at the bottom of your pack. Just stuff it into the bottom in the big mesh, you know, carrier that they come with. The sleeping bags, especially down bags, come with, and it will fill out all the little voids in the bag. You cut weight, because those compression bags usually can be up to 1 pound. I think the one I was using was like 1 pound. So I cut 1 pound off my bag, and he's right. I mean, I did it. I like shoved it all down there, and it just kind of fills out all the voids, gives you a nice round platform for the rest of your gear. Genius. So I have gotten away from compression sacks for my sleeping bags. Leave a comment on that one. What do you guys think about that? Do you do that as well? So I'm going to stuff that out. So this is, again, kind of like our foundation. And I got my pillow in there, and I'm just going to stuff the heck out of it, really rounding out the bottom of the bag. All right, we're going to talk water purification, because I'm trying something brand new, which is always, you know, a little nerve-wracking. The last 3 years, I've used a Grail exclusively for my water filtration. It works fine, but you are there quite a bit having to process it when you're cooking and when you're drinking and all that stuff. The convenience is great. The level of filtration and purification it gives you is awesome. But for 5 days, the quantity, and Grails are heavy. That is the one thing. And again, if we were going in shorter distances, I probably would still stick with that. But I have opted for previously used, tested the Platypus water filter. I just really like that design. It seems to work really well for me, and it has a little bit better, I believe, don't quote me on this, but microns of filtration over some of the other ones that are out there. And then I opted for 2 different 70-ounce water bladders. That one is dirty, one is clean. So green being bad and like algae, gooey, and then blue lid is drinkable. And I'm going to be doing a lot of gravity filtrations for the camp and for like cooking and drinking and all that. And we'll cut, I'm sure at this point, to how it's working and seeing it in action. And then separate from that, for more streamlined, just fast filtration when we're like on trail and stuff, I am using my swig rig from Hardside Hydration. Awesome sponsors here at the channel. I've been using their stuff for a long time. And that eliminates an internal bladder. So it's just that hose, you know, that hooks up to, in my case, a 48 ounce Nalgene. They have adapters. You could hook it up to any sort of like 28 millimeter smart bottle if you want to cut some weight. I'm willing to commit to that weight because of their new filter. They have the nano filter now that you just scoop up the dirty water and then you can drink straight out of it. So that is going to be kind of like my fast get to on trail, refilling, and then I don't have to carry as much water through the process of that. I've used it now a few times, the swig rig for years, love that. But the nano filter I've used on a few trips and it's been working really well. So we're going to see how that performs for the long haul for this 5 days. But so far, totally been digging that, and that is going to be my like tandem water filtration. But leave a comment what you guys trust in your water filtration when you go camping and backpacking. So let's go ahead and then let's put the sleeping bag, the tent. This is crazy. Okay, so I found this on a discount last year. I made a post about it, but this is a Marmot Tungsten UL 1 person, and look at that weight. That is the maximum weight it came to me. 2 pounds, 2.2 ounces. That is nuts, and I paid under $200 for that tent, guys. And that's a freestanding tent, so that is bonkers that I was able to score one for that. And then I've set it up once. Hopefully it's going to work. We'll cut to if it fails on me right now. But well, guys, here's the aftermath of the night before. We had about 25 minutes of marbled dime-sized hail the whole time, and then rain for like another hour on top of all that. Under 2 pounds for a one-man freestanding Marmot. That is bonkers, and that absolutely, because prior to that, my one man was 4.5 pounds. So I cut several pounds right there. So there are deals to be made. I know that it's hard sometimes, and I'm always on the lookout, you know, for an ultralight backpacking tent, and I've always preferred freestanding when I can, and, you know, as lightweight as possible. But you start getting into some of those weights, and it's like, yeah, they're, you know, whatever. $500, $600, $700, which if you backpack a lot, great, but we do like 2-3 a year, and right now it just doesn't make the financial sense to do that. Maybe one day I will, but there are some companies out there. You just got to really hunt around, find a deal, find maybe like last year's model or something, and you can cut a lot of weight and not have to spend outrageous amounts of money. So the main bag goes in there, and then I got the poles are going to be riding on the outside. Okay, food, and my food weighs about 5.5 pounds total with my URSACK. Now, where we're going, some form of bare canister or bag is required, and so URSACK. Why an URSACK? Well, I have a bare canister. The one benefit is that it's rigid and you can sit on it, so it's like a little chair. But we'll get to that in a little bit later. They're freaking heavy as mess and super bulky. So I think they're like, I think mine is like 3 pounds, and I don't even know if I would have been able to get my food in there. And I mean, I'm cutting to be like really minimal on my food intake. So URSACKs, you know, are tear resistant, you know, super durable bags, basically designed for and against bears and for bears to get after them. So that is what I've opted for, and I do appreciate them because I have this one I bought, but a couple of our buddies who are going have never needed one, and I reached out to URSACK and they were willing to send 2 over to us for just use, but also just testing on this trip. So just quick shout out to those guys. But I had bought one already and had one, I was like, hey, these are awesome. Can we get a couple more for us to use and test out on the trip? And they were willing to hook us up with those. Okay, you always got to have a few luxury items. I know we all do. And for me, it's going to be a chair. I went years without a camp chair, and it's basically an essential piece of kit. I mean, maybe if I was going like every night I'm camping somewhere different, and I'm going 50, 60 miles, you know, in a week or something, I may dump a camp chair. But for what we're doing, you know, we're going to be at a lake for 2 days, and then we're going to a different lake. And I mean, there's going to be hanging out. And so having a camp chair is just, after a long day of hiking, goofing around. And so I've had several. This is my most recent one. We will see how it actually holds up. But this is a 1 pound REI Flex Light Air. So the reason I bought it, it was under $100. It was on sale. I think I paid like 70, something like that. And it weighs 1 pound. And let me know what your luxury item is that you know you're like, I don't need this, but it's luxury and it makes the whole trip better. Again, mine would be that chair. All right, let's talk some fishing gear here really quick. So I used this last year, caught a few fish on our last trip, so it worked out good. This is a Zebco Roamer, so collapsible, relatively lightweight, nothing fancy about it, 3 bearing. But I'd love to know. I got like a lot of heat. Like, oh, that one's totally bogus. Like, and I haven't been able to find like a better one that can collapse down, is packable. I prefer an enclosed bail. It doesn't have to, but I kind of prefer that. If you guys know of a collapsible fishing rod that you take backpacking, I'd love to know. So I just re-reeled it with 4 pound line, which is preferred for like the lake trout and stuff that we are going to be catching. And then I'm just using a little plano I got picked up at Walmart. I put some foam in there to hook the hooks so the hooks aren't like flying around. So if I accidentally opened it weird, you know, I hooked every single hook into this little piece of foam padding underneath, and then, you know, got my bobbers and lures and all that stuff in there. So that is the fishing situation. We'll see how many I catch. Okay, and then let's look at these two other, again, lightweight options for a med kit. And especially because we're going all out and there's 4 or 6 of us, and it's just good to have something with, you know, like coagulants, a couple different types of tourniquets, you know, all your boo-boo kit type of stuff, all that. That is in a VanQuest ultralight, what would you call that? Like a cube for actually like travel, like a travel cube, but it's super light. I've had it for several years now, and it's very durable. I know you can actually slim it down. So on certain trips, if I know I don't need quite that extensive, we're not going out that far, not going out that long, we're not going to be as rugged and like isolated, then I could slim it down, but then I can expand it. So that I've used that pretty consistently for like hiking and backpacking for a few years now. So those are always great. And they have a few different sizes. That's kind of like the medium size, and they have a larger one and a smaller one. And then my survival kit with all of like my sharpening tool and my bandana and rain poncho and emergency, you know, whatever, and Leatherman and all of that. Fire starting equipment, that is in a Vertex version that's kind of similar. It was just kind of in a different size. That worked well for me. So either one of these, depending on what kind of your preference is, and they're relatively inexpensive, but they're going to be lighter weight than like Maxpedition or VanQuest, like organizers that are just way heavier. They're more durable, but way heavier. This cuts a lot of weight, but still gives me a lot of organization. I'll probably do a whole separate video on like what worked for me and what didn't on that, but there's just lots of gear in there. All right, check this super cool thing out. We used it on the kids' backpacking trip, my buddy Mike and I. We picked it up randomly at Sierra Trading Post again. It is a poop trowel, comes with this little sleeve from Sea to Summit. It's one piece of aluminum, like aircraft grade aluminum or something. So it collapses down that small. It's 3.5 ounces. And check this out. You just push. Let me see if I can do it while holding the camera. I might have to put the camera down. There you go. Okay, so it pushes, you have this pin right there, and boom, there is your trowel. You got a really nice handle for lots of stabbing to get, you know, your poop hole done. Now, all the inertia and energy is on this pin. So if this pin fails, then you're basically out of, I mean, it would still, you could use this in a different way and just, you know, lash it to a branch or something like that. And you could, you know, if you had to, like that would still be something. So if that pin fails, again, we've used it on one backpacking trip with the kids already and worked great. So hopefully it'll last for quite a while. And then it does have space in the handle for some toilet paper, butt wipes, hand sanitizer, something like that. You could fit in there depending on its size and dimensions. So this little cap comes off. But yeah, gifted that to my dad as well. So a few of us are going to have this on the trip. We'll see how it does over the long haul. So that and butt wipes, 42 of them. Obviously that can be a big fear. I went with somebody, one of my other buddies once, and he had like 2 of those packages and we were going for 3 days. I was like, dude, are you gonna have diarrhea the whole time? What is up? He's just like, bro, I just don't want to run out of toilet paper and have to use my hands. So yeah, booty wipes, always important. And then, got bug spray, hand sanitizer, all that stuff. You got to make sure you have that. And we've had some really rough mosquito times in other locations. And I have not brought mosquito net and regretted it, like for my head. And so I have now, this is an essential piece of kit for me. It's not non-negotiable. Because it's already bad enough when you're having to like wear a raincoat to keep them off of you or something, and then when they're still getting on your ears and your face, and it's just the worst. So mosquito netting, that one definitely is coming with. We'll look at cooking really quick. We're coming to the end. Some footwear, and that's about it. Some power, but this is a blade review channel. We do a lot of that. So on top of the jackalope, the other blade I'm definitely bringing is the lion steel aka, I think is how you say it. This is the disassemblable, if you will, knife, and I'm going to be doing a full review on it. But I have pounded on this blade because it's not full tang, meaning like there's a bolt that goes through and you can totally disassemble the one piece of micarta. It's bananas. But through all of my testing here at home, I was blown away by it so much so I'm like, let's risk it. Let's see what it does on the trip in Wyoming. And so we will see a full review coming soon, but I'm kind of blown away by the level of durability and just the cool factor of being able to disassemble the handle. So full review coming soon on that, but that will be my other kind of like main belt knife. I'll probably bring 1 or 2 other compact blades for the trip. Just again, it's a great opportunity to test them and use them and use them in the environment they're supposed to be used. So that, and then I'm not bringing a big chopper or hatchet. I'm just bringing a small Corona folding saw, ultralight, cheap, inexpensive. But this, if there's any sort of shelter building we get, emergency you have to do, or firewood prep or whatever, those 2 blades I know are just going to be more than enough. The saw and then a belt knife like that to get done anything we need to out west. Now, if I was living in a different part of the world, absolutely would need maybe a machete or a hatchet, and like stuff like that. But out west, everything is either alive and green or dead and just like dry as a bone, and there's really like no in between there. And it's pretty light wood, meaning like pines and aspens and that type of stuff. You're not getting into like hickory and oak and I don't know if ash is that dense. Probably, right? I'm not a woodsman or a wood connoisseur in that, but yeah. Anyway, so that is the tools, and then we'll get to cooking. I've updated a few things here. Decided to go with a Titan MSR pot. Now this is the smaller one. I think it's 800 milliliters. Now, the one drawback is it will absolutely handle a smaller fuel pod. I was really hoping it would fit this fuel pod, which is the 230 gram models, but it will not. I believe this is all we're going to need. We're all risking it and going like this is all we're going to need for a trip per person, is that sized one. It will diametrically fit, but the lid will not sit properly on there, so that's a little annoying. So you need to go with the larger size. I think it's 4 ounces titanium. Sierra is another one. Picked it up there just randomly. It was on sale for like half off, like 25 bucks, I think is what I paid for this thing. They're normally like 40 or 50. No graduations. That part is kind of lame. I wish there was graduations, but the reason I have gone with it, what I mean by graduations is like the markings to let you know, is 1 full pot, like up to the brim right there, does a backpacker meal and a cup of coffee for me. So it's like 2.5 to 3 cups ballpark. And so I just know, fill it up to the brim, boil it, and I can have a cup of coffee in my backpacker meal. So dehydrated. So that's why I went with that. And the diameter is a little bit bigger. I can store some more stuff. I'm using a pocket rocket. I'm not using a BRS 3000. That is smaller, that is lighter, but I'm opting to not trust that one for fuel consumption. It's totally reliable, and I've used it on multiple trips and is very inexpensive and light and small. But through my personal testing, I have found that the MSR Pocket Rocket 2 or whatever is a little bit more fuel efficient. And we're trying to make sure that we don't run out of fuel like a day before we get back. So that is why I'm opting for a little bit extra weight, a little bit bigger size, but theoretically better fuel consumption, or less fuel consumption, excuse me. And then a little Sea to Summit collapsible cup, and then my Sea to Summit folding spoon. I bought like 3 different spoons trying to see if I could find one that would fit inside there. They're all too big. Only the excuse me, is it the MSR? The MSR folding spoon. It's not quite as long as I would prefer, but it fits. You know, it's like light as a thumbtack. All right, guys, I think we're coming to the end of the road here. Just, you know, you're walking, you're carrying all this gear and equipment, and this one I know is going to be excellent already because I've put over 100 miles on them already. And these are the Danner full bore 4.5-inch breathable, non-waterproof boots. I got these several months ago. At least 50 of those 100 plus miles now have been with weight on my back, some sort of pack, day pack, whatever. But they are really light and flexible, but have a nylon shank in them to protect against the impact of the rocks that we have out west with all the rocky terrain and stuff like that. So, I mean, and I have an array of boots back here. I've got other Danners. I've got several Solomons. Last year I did a Solomon's. It was great. I've got Merrill, all of that. But of all of those, I'm opting for these full bore. They're like technically tactical boots, but because they're not quite trail running type of shoes, but they are definitely not like big clunky mountaineering boots. So they're a really good kind of like blend for me. And now having put that many miles on them, and they look like almost brand spanking new. They just have really held up well, and just have some minor wear here and there. They really feel comfortable, protect my feet, and are lighter than some.
Look around, everybody check.
All right.
Yep.
9 o'clock.
Good.
Let's see how long it takes us to get back to the car. 6 miles. Well, guys, it is 11 o'clock, 10:59, and there is the trailhead. There is the trailhead. Yeah, buddy. 2025 backpacking trip in the bag. 2 hours and 3 minutes, 68 years old.
Yeah.
That's what I got to live up to one day.
There you go. Never stop,
So yeah, appreciate you guys hanging with me. I hope it's been fun, entertaining, and just kind of giving you some tips, maybe some ideas. And please leave comments if you have ideas, if you have tips that you think I missed, that you think would make for a better trip. Again, I'm back already. Like the day when this goes live, I'll have gotten back like the day before. But this allows me to film, show you guys what I'm doing, and mean that I don't have to like come right back and the next day try to make a video in that order. So gives a little bit of lead time. So yeah, appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for hanging. And until next time, always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared. See you out there.